Okay, so hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Now, I have already filmed one of these, but I did it when I didn't really know anything about Macs or like how to screen record or anything. But this is basically how I make notes / essay plans / anything you really want to say on my MacBook Air for university. I will link the previous one in the description box down below. Also, I am officially trying out my new microphone for voiceovers and stuff like this, so you'll have to let me know if the volume, like not the volume, but like the voiceover quality is a lot better, because I know like in my videos I was using my AirPods to like record it and it was just terrible. Like I would have to edit that stuff so much. But anyway, this is a old essay plan. I have actually been waiting till I submitted this essay to be able to record this, because obviously I didn't want to post it online and then post my essay and find out that like people have used my ideas. Not like they would, because not enough people watch my channel for that, but you know what I mean. So I'm just going to kind of go through all of this, obviously not all of it because it's like notes, but just kind of give you guys an idea of how I use Word to kind of set out my essays. I do write them up sometimes, but a lot of the time I find it a lot easier to have them typed, just because I find I don't get as tired writing them. So yeah, anyway, so this is like the first page, which for me is always the most important page. So on this page I like to have the question, then I always put here the primary text that I'm going to use, just because then they're at the top of the page. And I always try and make them kind of bold so that I know these are the ones I'm definitely going to use. If I decide these aren't the ones I'm going to use, I normally add like extra information in here of thoughts of like different stuff that I want to use instead. I really can't type today. I'm literally typing what I'm saying. Anyway, so add that in down there, and then I move on to the main characters in the text. So this bit here is kind of, what did I just press? Kind of an important section for me. If I'm particularly writing about, say, female characters, so like in this one it is female characters, I always like to focus on two in particular characters, which are the protagonists of the text. So these guys are kind of up here. So in this one I've got Mole from Mole Flanders, and then Maria, which is also known as another one from another book. So I just kind of write out here what they are, what like their kind of role in the books are, if it's a play or something like that. But anyway, that's that little section here. Then moving down we have secondary sources. Now I always like to put these in a position where I can add to them, I can take from them. So having it kind of here instead of at the end is, for me, it's evident that it's there, but then at the same time I can add stuff, I can take stuff. And I also like to have them most of the time, as you can see here, done to the standard that we're expected. But a lot of the time, if I'm just quickly noting down what sources I'm going to use, I will literally just write out the title and then go back and look at them. Next, I have some essay writing tips. So this was particularly from this lecturer. So she did like a whole a whole lecture on just some tips. So for me, it was really easy just to incorporate like my notes into this essay plan, which I loved. Then, because I always like to have a meeting with my lecturer about my essay plan before I write the essay, just so I know that I'm on the right track, we have a rough draft of introduction here, which is terrible. Like looking back at this now, this is probably the worst introduction I've ever written. For a start, it's not long enough, and secondly, it's just not good. And then underneath, so just here I have all the notes that she gave me, which are obviously very, very helpful. I try and get down as much as I can when the lecturers are like giving back feedback on stuff like that in our one-to-ones, just because I feel like if you just sit there thinking about them, sometimes they don't always go into your head. So for me, it's so much easier just to add them underneath the introduction draft. Then moving on, so these big sections here, I think it goes to here, are all actual lecture notes. So these are taken from my notes in my lecture, and I've literally just added them into the essay plan, just so that I've got some notes from it that I can just quickly flick upon that I think are going to be relevant, just because I don't want to be sitting there going through like 9-10 pages of writing trying to find stuff that's important. Then I just kind of sit and have a go with different areas of the book. So for a good example on this one, I just kind of sat and spoke about the beginning of the textbook itself, and this for me is like a really easy thing to do. Well, not easy, but like to have this in your essay plan, it kind of gives you a structure of where you want to go with this. So this for me is just amazing for writing out a paragraph. Like each bullet point makes a point that you can write within. Ooh, and you'll notice as we've gone through that I have little mini highlighted sections, so one here and one here, and then there's some more up above. I do like to highlight critics' names or just like important bits. So this is a quote from another text that I'll be using in the piece. So this for me is just kind of to point out that something's important. I need to take this into consideration. And then just as we go further down, so this is just kind of a general bit of information about gender and society, like a little bit of research. So adding in research is always very, very like important to do. So just kind of put it in where you think it's relevant. Like sometimes people don't use it at all, but for me to have it at the beginning of my secondary research is the best place for it to be. And then again, I've just gone back and done another extract, but this is related back to the research I've done. So I've kind of got that bit of, oh look, this is the research you've done, now you're doing an extract from the text. So it kind of informs me and just kind of helps me to come up with these ideas. And again, this then leads again to another paragraph. So it just kind of makes the essay writing a little bit easier by using these plans. And then as we move on, these are literally just secondary sources. I have to admit, I do take a lot of quotes from secondary sources. As you can see, the next 4 pages are literally secondary sources. Apart from this one, this is the actual text, but the rest of them are secondary sources. And this for me really helps just to have everything in one place. Everything on, oh sorry, I hit the mic. Everything on one section, one document. And yeah, it just kind of makes life a little bit easier. So we're going to scroll up to the top. So this is just like a really easy way to use Word, but obviously there's so many different ways that you can use it. There's so many different tools. This one here, this little bit here, I can't remember what it's called. This one here, it allows you to change the spacing. So we have to do our essays in 2.0. So I literally just click this and go to 2.0 and it puts it in that for me, which is nice and easy. Don't have to do it myself then with the button. And then as well, for sources as well, you probably already know that a lot of the time you have to put them alphabetically. Now this A to Z button is a literal lifesaver. So you literally click this, click paragraphs, and it will automatically put them in the correct order for you, which is amazing and saves you having to sit there in your bibliography and try and figure out your ABCs. I know that sounds really stupid, but when you're a uni student, this literally saves so much time. So these 2 buttons here are by far my favourite when it comes to Word. And then we have the glorious dictate button. Now if you're someone who doesn't like to take notes in lectures, or your lecturers speak really fast, so you find that you really only get down what they write on the slides, then this dictate button will literally record everything they're saying. I'm going to see if it will let me do it down the bottom here, but when they're talking it basically just picks up your voice, which is really cool. I'm going to see if it works. So this is just me talking and it should pick it up. Yes, it is picking up. So as you can see, it literally just picks up what I'm saying. It doesn't really do, punctuation or anything like that. And sometimes words can come up really weird, like it said colour here, which isn't correct. So you do have to go through and kind of like correct it. So you're like cracked, like, okay. So yeah, you do have to kind of go through and correct it and add in any extra bits that you want to add in. But for lectures, it saves so much time, especially if you're sitting there in like a 2-hour lecture and you feel like you're going to not get all the information down, then dictate is amazing. As well, if you're someone who kind of likes to speak your writing, you can use dictate to speak out what you're saying onto paper, and then you can just literally go back. So say if you can't physically get the words from your brain onto the paper, then speak it, and it goes onto the paper, which is really cool and I love it. And then obviously we have all these functions up here. So yeah, Word is really easy to use for university. Obviously it's not just a Mac thing, but I'm just kind of showing this is how I use Word to make notes on my MacBook, especially for essay plans. And then I kind of showed you in regard to essay writing with these two buttons here, and then dictate with lectures is absolutely amazing. Someone did also say there's some kind of thing where you can highlight it all and it will read it out, but I don't know how to use that, so I'm not going to go into too much depth about that. But yeah, so this is kind of how I use Word. To be fair, I kind of go between Word and GoodNotes on my iPad. I haven't really got a preferred method. It just depends what mood I'm in. So if I feel like I want to write that day, I'll write. If I feel like I want to type, I'll type. But to be fair, a lot of the time this year I have kind of tried to keep it all in my iPad, just because it was easier. But now that I have my monitor, typing has become my new best friend again, because obviously I can have my class up on my monitor and then my actual Word document up on my MacBook where I can type up all of the notes. But yeah, so that's basically how I use Word, how I make notes on my MacBook. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm hoping that you enjoyed it as much as you enjoyed the previous one and that it isn't too repetitive. I feel like I've changed quite a bit in how I make notes, especially as that one was filmed back in first year, I want to say. So for me it was kind of like just learning how to do it, or just learning the way that I like to make notes, because obviously when we were at school it was all like handwritten and stuff like that. But yeah, so I've just kind of developed my own way over the past 2 years. But yeah, so if you want to see any more updated note-taking programs, because I have changed the way I take notes literally everywhere, so just let me know in the comments down below. But apart from that, I'll be back next Friday with a new video, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled. If you aren't already and you'd like to see more content in relation to university, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week for a new video. Bye!